Sullivan. What an exciting start to the day already.
Very early here on a muggy day in Carson, California, but the excitement starting to build as the first teen competition ever at the games now underway. And we saw a great race play out in both 14-15 and 16-17 on the boys' side. The girls looking to replicate that in event number 1 for them.
Not only is this the first event for these girls out here, but they had to compete in the open event, which all athletes did, and they competed against 750 women, girls for the 14-15 and 1,300 girls for the 16-17 division.
And the first test since the open will be this triplet here in event number 1.
What a fun triplet. We can see as you go down, those are 3 different rounds, and you can see that each age group is doing less. So we will see the 14, 15-year-olds come and finish that first due to the fact that they are doing a little less reps. The GHD sit-up is basically taking themselves all the way through a full range of motion of their trunk. The bar muscle-up, how fascinating for that to be in this division already, taking themselves from below an object, a bar, to above. So it's really a mix of a pull-up and a dip, where for the 14 and 15-year-olds, you have that chest-to-bar pull-up, so a very high pull-up all the way below their clavicle. And then the sandbag run is where we started to see some of the boys have some trouble.
Yeah, plenty of trouble on the boys' side. We'll see if the girls can handle these sandbags that will increase in weight each round for 3 rounds. And the girls that are getting ready to take on this opening event include your 14-15 points leader in the open, Sydney Sullivan, who was absolutely dominant start to finish during the open. She'll be in lane number 10. And your points leader in the 16-17, Allison Weiss, will be in lane number 11.
The excitement, they're in the soccer stadium for the first time ever. This stadium is enormous. When you look at them down the field, they look very, very small. And this rig in the middle is gigantic.
Yeah, everybody meeting Zeus for the first time, which is nearly 3 stories high in the middle of the soccer field here at the StubHub Center. That's not an intimidating thing at all to be looking down at from the end zone for these athletes who are taking the field for the first time this week. And away we go from the StubHub Center in Carson, California. Event number 1 for the girls in both 14-15 and 16-17 age divisions in the teen competition. And it starts with 40 GHDs for the older division, 24 for the younger. The younger division will be on the near side of the screen as well. The older 16-17 division on the far side.
And we will see them finish first just because we have less reps there. 16 fewer than we have in that older division.
Yeah, and the boys' side, we saw about a 4-minute differential between the Event 1 winners between the 2 divisions. Just 4:11 for the fastest time for the 14-15 boys division, a blistering pace. We'll see if anybody can recreate that here on the girls' portion of the competition. Judges' hands will go up when they are within the final 5 reps of any movement, and we see those hands go up as several athletes in the 14-15 division make their way to their first set of 12 chest-to-bar pull-ups.
Here we can see them on their chest-to-bar pull-ups, and they're flying through. A little bit of a mishap falling off there, but these girls are really crushing those chest-to-bar pull-ups.
Onto the sandbag carry for the first time, and it is a blistering pace for your open winner, Sydney Sullivan out of Jenks, Oklahoma. Dominant in the open and dominant through the first round, just 1 minute, 25 seconds.
That first bag there, that's 40 pounds that they pick up and take to the end zone, and they increase in weight on each round.
A massive lead through the opening of 3 rounds. Sullivan was somebody that in event 15.2, she won that in her age group throughout the world by over 100 reps.
This is our leader in the 14 to 15 division right here. Sydney Sullivan making a name for herself already.
We talk about how there's several athletes across any sport. We had LeBron James in basketball, where you knew they were going to be something special. We might get an idea who could be the special athletes in years to come at the games, and Sydney Sullivan making that name for herself as one of those possible stars of the future here in Carson for a long time to come.
Right behind her, that was Lindsay Porter. She was only about 5 reps behind Sydney right there. We saw no rep from the judge. That's due to the chest not touching here. This is Lindsay Porter coming up. She's very close behind Sydney.
Second straight year here, but the first year as a competitor. She came with her family as a spectator 1 year ago, and now her family getting to see her compete on the soccer stadium floor, chasing down Sydney Sullivan, who continues to lead now with that 60-pound sandbag.
And she got 60. It's going to continue to go up by 20 pounds.
So Sullivan through 2 rounds. Their closest competitor is Lindsay Porter out of Florida, carrying a sandbag that's about half of her body weight and making pretty quick work of it, not looking to have too much of a struggle with the sandbag.
That does not look heavy or difficult for her at all.
So she is through 2 rounds. A couple of other athletes now making their way through the second of 3 rounds at the 3.5-minute mark in this 10-minute time cap event. For 14:15, it's now just 12 GHD sit-ups, 6 chest-to-bar pull-ups, and that final sandbag run. Sydney Sullivan with now 2 reps remaining in the final round, 1 left. She's off the GHD for the final time here in event number 1. Just 6 reps and a sandbag run, all that remains to yet another event win, if you include the Open, for Sydney Sullivan, looking to start off this week in dominant fashion. Just past the 4-minute mark, there's the final chest-to-bar and an 80-pound sandbag, all that's left for Sydney Sullivan. Lindsay Porter with 1 chest-to-bar pull-up remaining, the closest competitor, along with Megan Trupp, but just 20 meters remain for Sydney Sullivan. She cruised in the Open, and she will cruise to an event number 1 win for the 14-15 division.
What a smoking time for Sydney Sullivan, not even giving the other girls a chance.
4:31, the time for Sydney Sullivan. She'll be able to catch her breath before the second place finisher comes through.
This right here is Celia Gold. This is now our 16 to 17 division, and they are on their bar muscle-ups. This is a more technical movement than we're seeing the 14 to 15-year-olds. You have to take yourself below and get your chest above that bar, so you can see how much more difficult this is in that chest-to-bar pull-up, because that was a chest-to-bar pull-up she did, but just couldn't get over.
Philippa Firm trying to get that second position, but struggling with that final sandbag, and she will be passed by not 1 but 2 athletes. Lindsay Porter in a foot race with Alina Lewandowski, and it will be Porter taking second, Lewandowski in third, and Philippa Firm out of Sweden struggling to get through the final 20 meters, and she will be passed for 4th by Megan Trupp.
And that is something we saw a lot in the boys division as well. These sandbags, you're just either running across or they're stopping you dead in your tracks.
Foot race for 5th, and that's going to be close. We'll have to wait for the official scoring between Philippa Firm and Romy Gold, the younger sister of Celia Gold that we saw with the bar muscle-ups a moment ago.
That right there at the end, the division, we're looking at the 16 to 17-year-old girls down at the end.
So as the 14-15 division starts to finish their first event, we are seeing the final round now starting to be underway for a couple of the athletes, a couple of the leaders in the 16-17 division.
This is your leader right now in the 16 to 17 division, Allison Weiss. She's out of College Hill Crossville in Greensboro, North Carolina. And that bag that she just went ahead and picked up is 80 pounds. That's her second bag.
So she will begin the final round for her on this 3-round triplet. And we're seeing a theme. If you did well during the Open to get here, you're likely going to be doing well in this first event. Allison Weiss, the Open winner, the number 1 seed entering this competition.
And Allison was a competitive gymnast for 10 years. Not sure if she still is. She's young. To do something like that for 10 years is pretty much your entire life. So being able to get through those bar muscle-ups was clutch for her and having that skill.
So Allison Weiss, who's just now old enough to get a driver's license, but already a long-time competitive gymnast, showing that she can be plenty competitive here in CrossFit as well. Your leader with 1 round remaining, just 2.5 minutes until the 10-minute time cap.
She's significantly in front of the other girls right now, as no other female in that division has picked up that second sandbag. So she's now 2 exercises in front of any other girl.
And the difference between 14, 15, and 16, 17, not just the rep count on the GHD sit-ups, but also those bar muscle-ups that have proven to be a devastating movement for a couple of athletes still working on round number 1. Ashley Wozni out of Massachusetts, not one of the ones on round number 1. She's working on her second round of event number 1. And she will lock out that final bar muscle up for round 2 and move on to the sandbag with 90 seconds remaining until the 10-minute time cap to open up the week competition.
You can see just how much more challenging this event is with those bar muscle-ups, as we have a 10-minute time cap, so they have a little bit over a minute left, and it doesn't look as though any of the girls in the 16-17 will be able to finish this event in that particular time cap.
A moment ago, you saw Nairobi Romero out of CrossFit Invictus finishing up her first round of 3, so getting through those muscle-ups that proved to be a difficult task. 1 minute remaining until the 10-minute time cap, and while we see some struggles in the 16-17 division, we're also seeing a big struggle on the final sandbag for the final athlete in the 14-15 division, where every other competitor now around her, and that is Rachel McInnes, just 115 pounds, not much heavier than that final bag. And it could be a finish for one athlete in the 16-17 division, as Allison Weiss now going to her final sandbag. It's an 100-pound sandbag. She's got 17 seconds to get there, and she's struggling just to pick this up. She will start to move it. She's going to have to hustle in these final 10 seconds with about 30 meters remaining. Can she make it? It doesn't look like she will, but it will still be an event win for your 16-17 Open winner, Allison Weiss.
With a significant lead on any of the other girls in the field there.
So no finishers of event number 1 in the 16-17 division, which was not an issue for Sydney Sullivan, who finishes event number 1 in just 4 minutes, 31 seconds to back up that open win that she had coming into this competition. So the girls will take off from the soccer stadium here for the first time. They'll be back. 2 more events await the team competitors in day number 1 of 3 of competition. Just an unbelievable sight. The first team competition, here it is in the soccer stadium, as the competition has been very close throughout the Open. It's proving that it could be a very close race here in Carson as well. And with the winner on the 14-15 division, Sydney Sullivan, is Nicole Brazier.
We were just talking about how you were first in the Open, now first after this event, and what's going through your mind right now?
I was really nervous, but now that